shirt today. Well, I was just in the middle of telling Emily I thought I'd wear something with buttons today, and then the thing started. Folks, welcome to the live Ask Us Anything live call with LifterLMS. My name is Kurt. I'm here with Magic Emily, and we're here for the next hour or so to answer your questions about LifterLMS. Part of the deal that we do here is we take your questions live. So go ahead and put comments or questions into the chat so that we know that you're here, and we can go ahead and address those and do screen shares and things like that. And pardon me, beyond that, check in with us. Like, who are you? Where are you from? Like, we have regulars that come all the time, like from Canada or other countries. And it's just cool, you know, just to be kind of honest with you. It's cool to know that people are chiming in from all over the world. Speaking of chimes, your wonderful chimes are working today, Emily.
Thank you.
I love that thing. Bong, bong, ding, bong. All right. Pardon me. LifterLMS.com/try. So this is the Ask Us Anything call. We're talking about LifterLMS, which is a learning management system. If you're looking to do an online course or something like that, and that led you to, check out this live meeting, if you haven't already tried it, go to LifterLMS.com/try. That gets you, for $1, you get 30-day access to a fully populated demo website. It has a fully functioning LMS in it. All of our add-ons are activated for you, and you're able to really get in there and see, hey, what could I build if I wanted to build this? And then, not for nothing, if you went to LifterLMS.com/free, you could just get a copy of LifterLMS for free and put it right on your own WordPress website. So there's all kinds of ways to get involved. I'm going to put your questions in the chat at the bottom as a ticker. I'm going to turn off that one. And the last thing that I need to bring up is, do I want to put it as a ticker or do I have it as a sign? I thought I had it as a sign. All right, it's a ticker. 55% off coupon. We mentioned this at the beginning of the call, and then we mentioned it again at the end of the call, provided my head's on straight. You can get your own LifterLMS 55% off coupon by going to LifterLMS.com/AMA-gift. LifterLMS.com/AMA-gift. All right. How's your week going, Emily?
It's good. I feel good. I'm wrapping things up for this week and excited to be on the calls for today. I have some leftover Mexican food from last night that I'm excited to get into. Chorizo y huevo. And, I have some, I built a whole thing in Gutenberg. I built a Elementor into the WordPress Gutenberg block editor. I migrated a site this week and did a bunch of custom development stuff for showing like groups and stuff on the users page in the back end. But I'm excited. I'm wrapping things up. I got to create a contract, and then I have a couple more tasks for one client, but then I'll be wrapping it up for this week. How's your week going?
As we get closer to the end of the year, I've been really focusing on process development for Mañana No Mas, and that's something that I've focused on before, like in waves. And we're a little bit slower on projects right now, and this is a really good time to review process. And I've redone some of our contract verbiage, and I've redone some of our terms and conditions verbiage for our different projects. And I know that sounds incredibly boring. I know that sounds like, no one wants to do that stuff. But things have changed a lot in the last couple of years with AI and, giving people admin rights to their website and the stuff that they can do inside their site now, especially if you're hosting it for them, that I wanted to make sure that I really put into print and didn't have to worry about, being responsible for poor decisions on their part, right? So I really wanted to protect myself that way. So did that. I also, I'm launching a thing that's like, it's an apprenticeship for trying to get younger people to adopt WordPress from an agency perspective. And so I started exploring some other tools in the space, and I made some tutorials this week and things that'll be broken down for support courses for people to use those tools. So super stoked just to be making headway on things. The other thing, did I tell you that I signed up for some kind of lifetime AI tool because I was just so stinking curious? I had to see what was going on.
No, I haven't heard this.
So I signed up for one of those you know, pay once and you have it forever. All the AI tools in one thing. It's you know, they don't say it's pre-prompted. I think I invented the term pre-prompted because I never hear anyone say that. But they're all like pre-prompted elements, right? So if you want to make an avatar video, if you want to make whatever, right? And so I've played with it some, and I've bought a couple of them. So I bought one that sucks, and I bought one that's really not bad. And I created an AI persona video, just a real short video. I let it do it itself. And it wasn't horrible, to be honest. It's some blonde-haired chick sitting in front of a sliding glass door who's like, "Mañana no más is the right decision for you," blah, blah, blah. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool. But then I decided to go into the AI tool and have it write a description for our website as a service product, right? So it wrote it out like, website as a service, how much it costs, the benefits of it, and blah, blah, blah. And it's probably 90 seconds or 120 seconds of talk. And then I took that, I made it a script. And then, so instead of just being so like if I had this AI thing read it. And so I went and found some other chick as my AI persona and put that in as a script, and it's making it in the background right now. I'm playing with all kinds of stuff. I'm no holds barred. Let's see what happens. Because you know how I feel about AI. I think it's a great tool. I use it a lot. I just don't like that people don't take the time to learn the ins and outs of it or what to expect for an output, and then just start throwing stuff around willy-nilly and then act surprised when stuff doesn't work. So I'm trying to put some time into figuring out how it works. That sounds crazy, huh? The only person that jumped on the call so far is Gary Alderson, and we see a lot more people than Gary in the live. So, folks, first off, shout out to Gary for following directions. You said hello to us. Gary is one of our faithful up in Canada. He's here with us almost every week. So good to see you, Gary. Welcome to the call. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them into the chat. It would be awesome. We did a bonus office hours call on Monday, right? Do you have anything you liked or didn't like about the call, Emily?
There's a lot of good turnout on Monday. A lot of new people in the lifter sphere. I really like those lift-off calls I used to do for like new customers coming in.
Yeah.
And this was similar, where it's like, hey, you just purchased, get on this office hours with us, get on this Zoom, and it was we had a full hour, and it was good time. I mean, it feels good to have one of those calls where we basically know the answers to all the questions. Sometimes we get kind of cornered, and we're like, oh, I don't know, actually this use case is kind of complicated, but with more LifterLMS add-ons rolling out, with continuing education, with eventually gifting going to be released, you just keep getting stuff for Lifter that is like features people have been asking for a while, and so there's not many use cases that we can't answer anymore, and so I really like that.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing about the Monday call, and that was it's refreshing every now and then to do one of those one-off special calls where it is new LifterLMS users. So it's not a show where it's like people haven't used it yet, right? It's like they have it. I shouldn't say haven't used it yet. Let's say they haven't made the decision to use it yet. Maybe that's the better way to say it, right? So they've made the decision to use it, but they haven't been using it for 4 or 5 years and like trying to integrate it with some strange CRM tool. And how come we don't have the answer right here live on the call, right? It's more like, how do I have a login page? How do I have how do I connect to WooCommerce? And that to me is it's really fun for me to get back to basics. And to be honest with you, Emily, that's one of the messages that I've been really holding the banner high on with a lot of our clients in-house at our agency is I'm like, look, let's get back to basics. What's your minimal viable product? What are you trying to solve? What are you trying to get to? And I think in the next 12 to 18 months, I think we're going to see more people that are going to start kind of like converting to this ideology of like, I just want an analog designed website. Like, I think there's going to be so much AI fatigue with all the AI injection, with all the different tools in WordPress and stuff, that I think some people, like, if you have a coffee shop or a laundromat or a dry cleaner, it's like, man, I just need a website where people can find my phone number and address. Like, I don't need all this AI suggestive stuff, you know? So I think things will drive down to a more simple thing. And I'm really hoping from an agency perspective that I can convince, especially our startups, to let us focus on the website and keep it simple, and let them focus on their business so they can scale and grow their business. So that's what I'm hoping for. Delphine, welcome to the call. You don't have to apologize for being late. You're not on payroll. I was late. I was late today. I was like a minute and a half late today. You do have a question for us, though. It says, question, how do I enter old certificate information into the Lifter system? I also need to enter the student grades from an external exam site. Oh, you people with this external exam site. You can enter old certificate information because you can manually award a certificate. So that might be something that Emily could show us on a screen share. And then, quite honestly, I'm going to ask Emily how she would enter grades from an external exam site. You would almost have to do that through some kind of CSV injection or something, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I have some background because I believe Gary and Delphine have been asking this question for a while. They have this off-site quizzing plugin. I believe it ended in IO, but it was something I had not heard of before. But if Delphine, if you could put in the chat what your system is that you're doing quizzes through. It's hard because I don't, not knowing that system, we can't really say what's possible, but it's probably some kind of an API call. I mean, you could always do the honor system. You mentioned Fluent Forums. I mean, that would be someone submitting their own grade. So they would take their grade that they just earned and submit it to your platform, but there's nothing from making them change not making them change their grade. So Delphine says, I can do it manually if necessary. It might be the case where you'd want to do that manually for a while, but then I'm not sure what this platform is that you're doing quizzes on or what the development capabilities of it are, but WordPress and Lifter can receive grades. So with a quick custom development, and by quick, I mean that depends on the developer. REST API, LifterLMS. Let me just confirm in the REST API for LifterLMS that we can accept grades from external sources. I believe we can. Grade. Maybe not. I feel like I've done this before. Student progress. Get student progress update. Student progress.
I know you could manually complete like a lesson for a student, but I don't know that you can manually enter the grade.
Right. I know you definitely could. It looks like the API doesn't have an endpoint for it, but you could definitely receive into WordPress, hey, this event happened. Oh, Gary put it in chat, speed.exam. So if speed.exam has a API capability to send grades to third-party platforms, a custom plugin could say, hey, when we receive a call to this endpoint with this verification, just like how you can connect Shopify or Zapier or anything to your LifterLMS, we would verify that is speed.exam contacting us, that person who submitted a quiz is truly a person who was on your website, take the grade, and then put it into maybe a LifterLMS quiz that's not accessible for students. Something like that. So it might be something done manually until we reach a point where we could have a custom development for that. We can export from the external website, and we can get the grade via API. So that's awesome. So that would just be some custom code in Lifter to say, or like a custom plugin that says, "Hey, receive this API call, and here's what you do with the API call: execute these tasks and insert this number into Lifter's grade system." And that would probably be like a SQL query injection or something like that. But you just have to look at how that's structured and make sure it works with Lifter. But it doesn't sound too difficult from a custom development perspective. If you're in custom development, it's not the hardest custom development. That's how I see it. But yeah, I would recommend doing it manually for your first like 50 students, and then after that, you'll have the funds for some, a $500 or 1,000 custom development to make that automatic, something like that.
Yeah, I always struggle with, because I always go back to every automation or every integration just adds to complexity and possible failure. And so whenever I connect something, I want to make dang sure there's a value to that automation or connection, right? Like I don't want to underemphasize the amount of work and maintenance it takes when there's updates to things. This last WordPress update, Emily, I'm going to ask you, just plain and simple, how many problems did you see when WordPress 6.9 came out?
I don't know. I didn't see any problems.
Well,
Did you see problems?
Yeah, between the work I did with WP Tonic and the work that I did with Mañana No Mas, I had about 10 sites get affected by the by the WordPress 6.9 update. And it wasn't necessarily, I don't think, WordPress 6.9. All the other plugins, there's a slew of updates during the holidays because that's just the sneaky way they try to put their sales information on your dashboard, right? And so there were updates before the holiday, then there were updates to change that back after the holiday, and then there were updates to update plugins to the 6.9 release, and then there was the 6.9 release. And so some plugins had 3 or 4 updates in the last 2 weeks, and there were some conflicts here and there. And unfortunately, I don't know the cause of it, but I know that some of them came through a brand that I endorse wholeheartedly. But it was like I had websites that were like, this is a critical error. And then I updated Fluent Forms and the critical error was gone. So it was just really, really weird. And I think it was a combination of plugins and a consistency in my stack, which normally is a good thing. But I think that consistency in my stack is why I saw the same issue over and over and over again. Once we did all the updates and cleared the cache and did things, websites came back to life. But it was a little bit of a distraction. And for me, I think every time we add integrations or automations, we create the possibility of updates interfering with that. You know what I mean? We just add an element of maintenance to our project. Yeah. Let's see. We have someone I think is new on the call. Gaskill. C Gaskill. Hi. I know WordPress fairly well, and I'm figuring some things out with Lifter. I've consulted some training videos for WordPress and Lifter, but I have questions. Great, you're in the right place. First, I am struggling to align and space blocks. And I think this is interesting because the next one says, struggling, it's definitely not what you see is what you get. And then we have to jump into like the obvious questions, right? It says it's not looking good in edit, looks even worse when I preview the page. My assumption is you're using the WordPress editor, is my guess, because it's not what you see is what you get. I think even if you have tools, so if you're like in the 2025 or the 2024 theme, and you're using that theme and no other tools, just WordPress and LifterLMS, you're going to see some disparity between the edit screen and what is on the front end of that website. And that's why when I use those tools, as simply as they are, I'll design in the edit screen, and then I'll keep a tab with a preview screen open that I can just refresh. It keeps things easy to have 2 tabs open. If you use Astra or Cadence, and then you use those corresponding tools that extend the WordPress editor. So that would be like Cadence Blocks or Cadence Pro, and then Astra would be Astra Pro and Spectra. Those tools will add or extend the design capabilities in the WordPress editor really, really, really well. It's still not what you see is what you get. It's still a edit in the edit screen and take a look at it on the front end. In fact, even when I use Elementor, which is a page builder, so there's the WordPress editor and then there's page builders, because I want to make sure that we're having a conversation, especially for the replay, so that everybody understands what we're talking about. So there's the WordPress editor and then there's page builders. So that's like Beaver Builder, Elementor, Bricks, Etch, these tools. They help you design in more of a design framework, I think, than the WordPress editor. But even those aren't what you see as what you get, because you're working on a screen that basically has edit information either on a right or a left sidebar. And if the content's truly responsive, when you look at it on full screen, things stretch out and change space. So there is a little bit of a challenge, especially because working on the internet's not the same as like building a workbook in PDF and sending it to a printer, right? You're not in total control of the spacing and the alignments. If you're having a problem aligning the blocks, I think I might defer to Emily for a screen share on this, but like if you're in a full site editing theme, you probably want to make sure that the containers that you're using in your edit pages are using, like, is this boxed or is this full width, right? And then if it's boxed, it should maintain content width, and that should help you align things better. What are your thoughts on that, Emily?
I'd be happy to do a screen share on that. I'm distracted here. I'll share my screen.
I'm distracted
really,
here.
I'm vibe coding an integration for speed.examine apparently LearnDash. It's LifterLMS and it's talking about LifterLMS and using LifterLMS terms, but it called it LearnDash. So let's see. But yeah. So we're talking about like using the block editor to build stuff out.
Yeah.
On our courses and whatnot.
And I think one of the main concerns is what they see in the edit screen is not what they see on the front end, and they're having an issue with aligning blocks.
Aligning blocks, yes. So I spent a lot of time in the WordPress block editor yesterday, and aligning blocks is something that you'll have a challenge with. Could you let us know if you're working with any add-ons like Spectra or Cadence blocks and what theme you're working with? On my site, I'm working with the Sky Pilot theme from LifterLMS, and I'm working with Cadence blocks. So this is like an extension of WordPress blocks. So instead of just having my regular stuff, my paragraph, text, heading, image, our stuff down here, we have these blue ones that extend way beyond. So this is a PSA for anybody who is watching, that in WordPress out of the box, you have columns and grids and stuff like that. But if I add a column and I do maybe a 50-50 column, the settings that I have over here on the right-hand side to control maybe the width of my columns or the content that's in my columns, the styling, it's just relatively limited. And I can add more options like font sizing, appearance, letter spacing, stuff like that. But with something like Cadence blocks or Spectra, which I do recommend, you get access to the row layout. The row layout lets you do the 50-50 layouts just like columns do, but you can see over on the right-hand side, I have so many more options for like column gutter, row gutter, which is our vertical and our horizontal spacing. We can add a top divider. We can add a bottom divider. When we go into the styling settings, we just have so many more settings to play with. And so I find that if you're used to something like Wix, if you're used to something like a page builder, like Elementor or Beaver Builder, you're going to find that blocks like Spectra or Cadence blocks is going to suit you very well. I'm happy to talk about spacing, but let me know what add-ons and theme you're using, and I can try to recreate what you're going through with alignment. I just think that making alignments and spacing changes with an add-on like this is so much easier. But even if you're in that core WordPress product, we're just using the columns block. I don't know. Let's put in an image. I'm probably not going to be able to reproduce an issue that easily, but I know when aligning images, things can get complicated. Let's use an image that's a square. It actually has like a border. This is like 50%, and then we have a heading.
It's the eye of the tiger.
There we go. It's the eye of the tiger. It's certification. Okay, there we go. We we are rolling with some text here, but we can look at the alignment of this. We can see it's 50-50. I don't know if I'm going to be able to recreate alignment issues. I know when you take your photos and you make them small, and then you may try to align left, you might try to align center. It seems like it's working for me, but sometimes when I align center, it doesn't appear the way it's supposed to. So I don't know. It seems like it's working for me right now. Or if I put that thing on the right side,
and then there's a setting where if the picture was still big, you can select the whole row, and then you can center the row vertically. And that helps, because if you don't center the row vertically, then you end up with like tall column, short column, all that weird stuff happens. But if you center the row vertically, then it equals the size of the columns out.
It's a really good tip for creating balance. Yeah, align middle. Maybe your alignments aren't working. Oh, they went back in chat. I don't have any add-on. I'll try Cadence. Should I use WP Editor or Course Builder or both? So you'll end up using both. This page I'm editing here is my course, like my cover page. Whenever someone clicks from their dashboard or for the sales page, they come into the course, they're going to see this page I'm designing right now. But then the Course Builder offers a different function. The Course Builder offers the function to build out your syllabus here. So I have new section, lesson 1. We'll see new section, lesson 1. So if I want to add a lesson 2, this is where I'll come in and do lesson 2, give it a second to save, and then I can reload over here, and we should have another lesson. So the Course Builder allows you to do that, add more lessons to your course. And then you can edit your lessons from the Course Builder, which is going to open up yet another screen. And this is the lesson content itself for lesson 2. So if I click into lesson 2, the Course Builder kind of takes us into an area where we can edit these. There's multiple ways to do the same thing in WordPress. Kurt says this a lot, and that is you got multiple options. You can click on the front end like I did. I clicked lesson 2. I could click edit lesson at the top, or I could go into the Course Builder and click edit from here. Lots of ways to do this.
And if it's a complete video course, you might want to just use the featured video embed, which is really easy to access both on the edit lesson page, but also in the Course Builder. So you could stay in the Course Builder and build the whole thing out in the Course Builder.
This is true.
There's all kinds of ways. I know people hate that answer, but it's like people say, "Oh, can I do this?" I go, "Yeah, you can." Oh, okay, well, how? Oh, well, what's your use case? What do you really want to do? Linda's with us. So Linda says they're a small nonprofit. Welcome to the call, Linda. She's got a couple of questions. I'm going to start with what looks like an easy question that becomes a confusing question. And that is, how often should someone clear the cache and how? Cache is like, I don't know. I don't want to say it's the Achilles heel because that's not really the right description. It's like this weird thing. It's like a benefit / liability. So it's a very difficult topic to really address completely on a call like this. So cache, for those that aren't aware what cache is, caching allows your website to basically mirror itself on multiple servers and speed the page delivery to end users. I think that's just the easiest way to say it, right? So it's like your website is cached, it is stored on multiple servers, and it's mirrored all over the world so that people all over the world, when they click on your URL, can see your content more quickly. So it's a performance tool. But when you get into some more of your bargain-based hosting packages, things that are $3 a month, $5 a month, even $10 a month, they're going to be like really heavily leveraged on caching tools to be able to, I don't want to say fake, but it is fake. It's like they're faking performance because they're not giving you server resources. It's not like they've given you extra memory or extra PHP workers to quickly and with performance serve your website. It's more like on a very budget level, they've mirrored your website all over the world and people get quicker access to it because of that mirroring. That mirroring in a dynamic website can be a nightmare. So this is why you'll hear us say a lot, like you want to make sure you have a good host, and then, so what is a good host? Well, we have a list of them on the recommended resources page in LifterLMS. Like I don't think I could list them all out without seeming like I'm playing favorites. So there's all these recommended hosts on our page, and there's others that are still just as good. And they still have caching, but they know how to cache dynamic websites. A dynamic website is a website that injects data that is user dependent. So shopping carts, like WooCommerce sites, typically cache can be an issue for them. Membership sites, social sites, like if you had a community site with fluent community, or an e-learning website. And some of the things that you would see on a website that is cached too heavily would be like someone signs up for a course and then they go to log in and then it says they don't have an account. Or someone has an account, they've had an account for 2 weeks, they go to log in, it says this user doesn't exist. Or they put in their username and their password and it says your password doesn't match. But for dang well, they know that that's their password, but they can't get into the website. You start getting like support requests from users that don't make sense, or people aren't seeing what you think they should be seeing. Or you as the course creator, and I'll wrap this up quick, you as the course creator, maybe you make edits to your website and then you go to look at those edits on the front end and then you don't see them. And you're like, I know I made that change. You can click on clear the cache and then go refresh that page. And typically you'll see what you're supposed to see. So one is, how often should someone clear the cache? I think you should be careful on what you cache and how it's cached in the first place. So I think that's where having a good quality host really comes to bear its fruit. And then the how to flush cache, you should only have one caching tool on your website. So I sign into a lot of client websites where there's a lot of like data errors or things that like functionally don't make sense. And then when I get into their back end of their website, I'll see that they actually have like 3 caching tools. And the thing is a lot of caching tools don't really market themselves as caching tools. So that's part of the problem. You see it'll say, oh, this is an image optimizer and it helps with website performance. That's using cache. And then there's a caching tool, and then there's some other kind of performance tool. Anything that says increases performance or speeds up your website is typically leveraging caching in some way. So you want to eliminate the superfluous extra caching tools in your website, and you want to focus on one. I like WP Rocket. I like Breeze from Cloudways. I like Stack Cache from 20i. There's a lot of caching tools that are good tools. So pick something that's reputable, that has a lot of installs, that gets updated regularly, and use that one tool. And then I clear the cache on my websites whenever I make any substantial changes to plugins, or whenever I make any substantial changes to, like I add a new membership or a new flow or a new funnel or something like that. I'll typically flush the cache just for the sake of flushing the cache. Doesn't necessarily mean I saw a problem on the website. I just do it as a best practice. Hopefully that rounds out a pretty decent answer. Do you have anything to add to that, Emily?
I like the idea about choosing a good web host, and a lot of them have their own caching mechanism, like Cloudways has Breeze and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's when I first started hosting with Cloudways years and years and years ago, I was like, what is this Breeze thing that shows up on all these sites? And then I was like, oh, it comes with Cloudways. And then when I switched to 20i, it was like, what is this Stack Cache? It comes up, well, it does it. And what I like about, this will seem like a shameless plug, but I'm a 20i reseller, so I use a lot of 20i product at scale. What I like about 20i is I can clear the cache from the server side. I can clear the cache from the website side. I have a lot of control over how things are cached, when they're cached, what pages are cached. I can set up like exclusions, for example. So I have this one website for a client, and for some reason, the formatting on their homepage keeps getting cached and then not formatting correctly for end users. And so I literally went in, purged the cache, and then I set up an exception that said, don't cache this homepage anymore. And they haven't had a problem with displaying their homepage ever since. And so I could have spent a ton of time trying to figure out, is it a conflict with the theme? Is it a conflict with the page builder? Is it a conflict with the short code? Is it a conflict? I could have troubleshot that for hours and hours and hours, or I could have just set up that cache exemption and it's fixed. And then once, every few weeks we update all of the plugins for our clients anyway at our agency. So I just go in, and when we update the plugins on his website, I just make sure that we flush the cache and everything stays good. So we haven't had any problems with it since we were able to customize the cache settings in my server. So there's all different ways to think about cache. You can think about it proactively, or you can think about it reactively. I am a big fan of process development, and being proactive. So you'll generally hear my solutions be a little more like be ahead of the problem instead of behind the problem. Let's see. You put in a great comment, so I'm going to focus on that. It says the aircraft add-on would help with building smooth layouts and blocks much faster. And we should demo that, actually. We should. I know that is in response to See Gas Kill, but we should demo that, Emily, because the aircraft is a series of patterns. We call it an actual page builder in the WordPress editor space, but it gives you pre-built sections, and you can stack those on top of each other, and the alignment's pretty straightforward. So that might help in the speed of doing that for you. We say that aircraft is a plugin included in the Universe and Infinity bundle with LifterLMS. It has a block pack, like we said, and when you activate those rows or those elements that are in there, they should stack properly for you. So that should probably help with the way that you're spacing and designing your site. It says, yep, we're seeing that. I'm sure that was the discussion that I was leading on cache. And then, so if you can do the screen share on the page builder, that would be awesome, Emily. And then we'll come back to Linda and we'll hit her second question.
Yeah, so you saw in the previous demo that I was building out columns manually, but usually this isn't going to be the most efficient way to do it. You could see that it took me a few minutes, and my layout is kind of like mid. So what we're probably going to be looking for, if we add the plus button, is this patterns area. Now, you don't need aircraft to have access to patterns, because patterns exist in WordPress, and you'll find some, like the call to action area, in WordPress out of the box, but these are a bit of a radical design maybe for a course. But if you like them, they're there. But what Aircraft does is it adds some more folders here of calls to action specifically for course creators, hero sections specifically for course creators. So if I was designing a course sales page, I might put a hero section there. I might drop in a call to action, maybe this call to action. And then I might roll into the about section, maybe something like that. And so with 3 clicks, I chose a few blocks, and let's just save it and view it on the front end to see what this looks like. But we can see I already have the air horns going off. Literally, I'm listening to like theta wave frequencies in the background, and I'm like, that can't be a part of that video. It's like a relaxing, like droning wave, and I'm like, what is that? I'm like, oh, Kurt played that.
I have jazz in the background.
Yeah, that's good. I got popped. So we have the kitchen line cooking course, and I probably want to lay this out a little bit differently, but you can see just based on 3 clicks, I have a heading and a video. And this sidebar here is pushing me over to the left side a little bit, so I might want to change that. But I have a good layout that's already here, and all I have to do is come in and change this to say, like, lesson 1. You'll see Amazing results. I don't know what your course is, but in just the first 3 lessons. The first 3 lessons. And we can say we have a 3-lesson refund policy. We have a 3-lesson refund policy. If you don't get XYZ results by lesson 3, your money back free. Something like that. I don't know. But we could work the copy a little bit, but we're just talking about like with lesson 1, lesson 2, and lesson 3, you'll achieve these results. It'll be super fast and easy. We are so much easier than our competitors, and you're going to want to go to GPT or Claude and get your copywriting optimized a little bit to match your audience. But we already have a layout. With 3 clicks, we have a good layout that we can work with, and we don't even have to design it from scratch.
Yeah, that is good stuff. Let's jump back up to Linda, because she was higher up in the comments, and I don't want to lose track of things. She asks a really great question, especially for you and I, and that is, I have a WordPress website and use LifterLMS. So far, we are batting 1,000, Linda. It says, I'm interested. I'm looking at improving the look. I think I saw there may be options to hire someone through LifterLMS. Is that something someone could do? Yeah, there is. So if you go to lifterlms.com and you start kind of like floating around on the website, if you get to, it's not in pricing, it's not in is it services? Under software, you're going to see a tag called services. And in services, they have a mission control, which is $10,000. They have a launch, which is $12,000. And then they have the warp speed, that is $15,000. Now, that is like, those are different platforms that you can buy through LifterLMS to help you develop your site. And they come with different levels of interaction with staff, designers, whatever, right? So, and I don't want to undersell or oversell those options. I don't think we usually mention those on this show. So I want to make sure that people that see the replay understand that that's there. You go to LifterLMS, you look at solutions, but software, and it's like you have the software, and then you have services, and it's right there. It's like the first thing on the menu. The next thing to discuss, though, is, and one of the things I really like about Lifter, and I should be clear, I liked this about Lifter before I became a member of this page. So I'm under Mañana No Mas. Emily is under WP Course Guide. So we're both on the list, but there is a list of experts that you can hire through LifterLMS. And when you go to the experts list, you're getting someone that's been vetted as an actual expert to work with LifterLMS, but you're also you're shopping for the scale of your project, right? So when you look at that services page that I referred to in the beginning, that's like, you're brand new and we're going to build this thing for you, right? That's a little bit different than someone that already has Lifter, that already has a website, that already has things going, and they just want to incrementally make some improvements. You're going to be looking for someone like a freelancer or an agency to jump in and help you out. My advice in this space, and I say this with, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to give you some advice in this space, is come to a discovery call with whatever service provider you want to have a conversation with, and be prepared to talk about your use case. Who are you trying to sell to? What are you selling? How much are you trying to sell it for? And what kind of designs, kind of have an idea of like what kind of designs you're interested in. Like, what are your colors? Do you have a logo? Do you have other corporate assets that you need to emulate or accent, right? So like, I have different projects that are on different core colors, different style guides. So one of the services my agency offers to people, because we're a full service agency, if it's a startup, we can do logo development, and then we can do a style guide development, and then we can build all of your projects to conform to that style guide. And so that gives our clients the ability to have consistency in branding and marketing, from print to like business cards to the sign over the door to the website to the event they're doing at a convention center and having the right color tablecloth. Like if you have that kind of development done, you have that much more of an advantage on kind of like following the process to get to the desired results that you're looking for. But that's my point. Go to the experts list, start perusing that, and look for somebody that just seems to resonate with you on what would be a possible solution. If it's design oriented, I'll tell you right now, I think Emily's fantastic at design and spacing and use of white space and all those fun things. So that's that. Let's go down. Oh, and hopefully that's a good enough answer for you, Linda. If you have something to follow up with that, just let us know, right? Just let us know. I'm going to take the ad off the bottom of the screen, go back to comments. I think this is hilarious. I don't know, Kevin. That's a weird one. Usually people are more positive when they come to the calls, Emily. This is a fresh take. Can we get someone with a stable connection and stable mental state? I don't know. People think I'm crazy everywhere I go, Kevin, and I think that's the fun of it. And if you're having a bad connection, I don't know how to address that either, because it says here I'm having a bad connection. No one else is complaining and my connection is good. That's like one of those things. It's like, if you think everyone else is crazy, maybe it's yourself. So maybe your own connection's not so great. Let's take a look at this one. Linda says, sounds great. If we use that service, do they show us how to maintain it ourselves? Okay, Linda, this is a big one. LifterLMS is really support heavy. So we have the Academy with tons of courses in there. You can go straight to LifterLMS.com. You can go to the Academy, and there's stuff in there all over the place on how to manage your project. And you can micro learn it, like it's all broken into lessons. We have a very active YouTube channel, and our documentation, I don't think really can be beat. It's really quite steep on the document side. So if you go into the knowledge base in LifterLMS, I mean, I don't know if it's thousands of articles, but there is just a ton of content in there about how LifterLMS has progressed over time. So that's there. If we use that service, I got to be clear now, because I don't know what that service is. If it is the services listed with LifterLMS, the 10,000, the 12,000, and the 15,000, that's basically like a do-it-yourself thing. You're getting a lifetime Infinity Bundle license, and you get access to our weekly office hours mastermind group. So yeah, there's help, but it's not like a coach. It's not like a full-time coach thing. If you do the $12,000 launch, that's the lifetime Infinity Bundle. So you get access to Lifter and all of its add-ons for life, just like the first one for 10 grand. We set up the site for you. We take care of your brand colors and all of that stuff. We install some demo content so that your website's just not completely blank, right? It's got demo content, so you kind of know how things are supposed to look. And then we also give you a coaching call where we can teach you a little bit more about how that platform works. And then the Warp Speed one, the $15,000 option, that was all of that, plus we put your content into the site. So that's like, now it's like a done for you kind of thing, right? You have your content ready, hopefully. And so they set the whole thing up. They inject your content. They still give you the one-on-one coaching call to tutor you on how the dang platform works. And then you still get access to that weekly office hours mastermind call with any of the platforms. And so there's always a place to go where there's real live human beings on a Zoom call and screen shares to help you through things. I want to go one step further. If you go the direction with an expert, my policy at my agency, so at Mañana No Mas, pardon me, at Mañana No Mas, I meet with a client, I do a needs assessment, I give them a proposal to answer their needs, and in that proposal comes a built-in element where I'm going to say, hey, after we build this for you, you're going to get 2 hours of Zoom training. And I don't care if it's with me and you or if it's with me and your whole staff on a Zoom call. Like, I don't care how many people come, but it's 2 hours to go through the basics of this is how things work. This is how you add a course. This is how you add a lesson. This is how you access reporting. This is how you print a report, that kind of stuff, right? We just go through that. We have a process for how we onboard our clients. And I know a lot of other people work like that. Emily will jump on Zoom with you from the beginning and build it with you. Like we have different work styles. I'm more the project-minded person. Like, I do the needs assessment, I propose the project, and then my team builds the project, and then we teach you afterwards. Emily's like, I'll jump on Zoom with you right now. Let's just build the sucker and do it together. So there's different approaches, but it's what meets your use case the best. If it's more task-oriented, there is a source on the experts link called Codable. And Codable is like a conglomerate of a ton of service providers. And they have a bidding system where you would say, I have this task I want to get done, or this customization I want to make. And then 3 people bid on it. And then they take the average of those 3 bids. That's what you pay. And you pick the service provider that you want to use out of those 3. And so that's a really cool way that they do things too. So everyone's got it a little bit different. I would make sure that if you pick an expert provider, that you do specifically ask about training, tutoring, coaching, however you want to phrase that. But I think that's important. And I should stress, I have clients that in the end say, hey, I just want to meet with you once a month for the next 6 months for an hour. And then they can pay for that time. They can always add that to their package. But in almost every proposal that we put out, we factor in 2 hours of training. Linda says that has been very helpful. Thank you. And freelance. Yeah, grab yourself a freelancer and have at it. There's pluses and minuses to people that say that they're freelancers. I think you could be a one-person agency or you could be a freelancer. Freelancers generally tend to be a little less expensive, but sometimes they can be harder to wrangle over time. Like, so they might help you with the project and get you built, get you launched, and then all of a sudden, like a year later, you need help and you can't find them, or they're gone, or they took a job. Maybe they're working for Codable now, right? But it's like sometimes it can be hard to reconnect with a freelancer, even though there's an economic benefit at the beginning of the relationship. Somebody that has like a business name and they call themselves an agency, that's typically something a little more stable, but your costs are probably a little more inflated. It's just you're probably going to have a little more stable of a relationship and the ability to connect with them over time. Look at me. I'm talking about all kinds of crazy things. Emily, how are you? Everything holding up?
Everything's holding up.
Well, here we are coming up to the end of this call. If you've got anything last minute that you that you want to put up in here, feel free to jump in. As you can see, I'm not too afraid of most comments, even if someone says I have an unstable mental state. Other than that, I would encourage people to go to the LifterLMS.com/AMA-gift, and that will get you the 55% off coupon that we were talking about. So that's right here, LifterLMS.com/AMA-gift. We just spent some time talking about the experts link. I think that's an awesome, awesome thing. And then I just really wanted to welcome people that are new to the LifterLMS family. We just had a huge influx of people come in through the Black Friday sale that we listed. It was Black Friday for all of November. We did the we did that bonus office hours call on Monday. We got to welcome a handful of people there. But this is what that interesting time of year, Emily, where all kinds of new people, faces, and names start popping into the Facebook page and commenting on our videos. And this is the time where we see a lot of new people, and it's super fun. So I just wanted to make sure that I took a moment to welcome everybody. And with that, I think we'll see you. Is it next week? We're still going to be here next week. We're still going to be here next week. I'm so excited about the holidays, folks. This year, all the holidays fall on Thursdays. So we're not doing Christmas or New Year's, but we will see you next week. With that, you can be reached at WP Course Guide, right?
That's right.
I can be reached at Mañana No Mas, and we both have YouTube channels as well. So with that, have yourselves a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Thursday. Bye-bye.